Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you hard work guarantees success. It's a comforting lie, a pacifier for the masses. The truth is, hard work is only an entry fee. It gets you in the game, but it doesn't guarantee you'll win. They need you to believe in the meritocracy, the idea that everyone gets what they deserve because it keeps you docile, keeps you grinding. Meanwhile, the real players understand the game is rigged. It's about leverage, connections, and a ruthless understanding of human nature. It's about knowing how to manipulate the system, how to exploit the loopholes, how to acquire power and then wield it without apology. They tell you to be nice, to be agreeable, to play fair. That's how they control you. They want you to believe that being a good person is enough. But the world doesn't reward niceness. It rewards strength, cunning, and the willingness to do what others won't. The truth is, the path to success is often paved with uncomfortable choices, with actions that might make you question your own morality. Are you prepared to confront that? Are you willing to sacrifice your illusions for a taste of real power? Most aren't. They cling to their comfortable lies, their safe little worlds. But you're here. You're seeking the truth no matter how harsh. You're ready to see the world as it truly is, not as they want you to believe it is. They tell you money can't buy happiness. It's another lie designed to keep you content with your poverty. Money may not guarantee happiness, but it buys freedom. It buys options. It buys security. It buys the ability to protect yourself and your loved ones from the harsh realities of the world. Without it, you're vulnerable, exposed, at the mercy of those who have it. They want you to believe that the simple life is the best life. They romanticize poverty, glorify struggle, and demonize ambition. But there's nothing noble about being broke. There's nothing virtuous about being powerless. The truth is, the ability to create wealth is a superpower. It allows you to shape your own destiny, to influence the world around you, to leave a lasting impact. Are you going to squander that potential by accepting their limiting beliefs? Are you going to let them convince you that you're not worthy of abundance? They tell you to follow your passion. It's feel-good advice that leads to dead ends and disappointment. Passion is a luxury, not a strategy. It's something you can afford to indulge in after you've built a solid foundation, after you've acquired the resources and the influence to pursue your dreams without jeopardizing your survival. The truth is, the most successful people aren't necessarily the most passionate. They're the most disciplined, the most resilient, the most willing to do the unglamorous work that others avoid. They focus on what's profitable, on what's sustainable, on what creates long-term value. Passion can be a powerful motivator, but it can also be a blinding force, leading you down paths that are emotionally rewarding but financially ruinous. Don't let your emotions dictate your decisions. Let logic and reason be your guide. They tell you everyone is equal. It's a comforting fiction that ignores the undeniable realities of human nature. Some people are smarter, more talented, more driven, and more ruthless than others. Pretending otherwise is a recipe for disaster. The truth is, the world is a hierarchy. There are winners and losers, and your position in that hierarchy is determined by your skills, your knowledge, your network, and your willingness to fight for what you want. Accepting this reality doesn't mean you have to be cruel or heartless. It simply means you have to be realistic. You have to understand the rules of the game and play them to your advantage. You have to recognize your own strengths and weaknesses and leverage them accordingly. You have to surround yourself with people who can compensate for your shortcomings and amplify your talents. Stop believing the lies they feed you. Start facing the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. The world doesn't owe you anything. It's up to you to seize what you want, to create your own destiny, to become the person you were meant to be. And that journey begins with acknowledging the harsh realities that most people are too afraid to confront. They preach about self-esteem, about feeling good about yourself no matter what. But genuine self-worth isn't a gift, it's earned. It's the byproduct of overcoming challenges, of pushing your limits, of becoming someone capable and competent. The constant need for external validation is a weakness, a sign that you're fundamentally insecure and reliant on the opinions of others. True confidence comes from within, from knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. They tell you to follow your heart, to pursue your dreams, no matter how unrealistic. But your heart is a fickle thing, easily swayed by emotions and fleeting desires. Success isn't about blindly chasing fantasies. It's about making calculated decisions, about focusing on what's achievable, about building a solid foundation for the future. Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. Be realistic about your strengths and weaknesses, about the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. The world doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards hard work, discipline, and strategic planning. They want you to believe that everyone is special, that you're entitled to success simply by existing. But the truth is, mediocrity is the norm. Most people are content to drift through life, never pushing themselves, never striving for greatness. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to be willing to stand out, to break free from the pack, to work harder and smarter than everyone else. You have to embrace discomfort, to challenge your own limitations, to constantly learn and grow. The path to success is not paved with good intentions. It's paved with sweat, tears, and unwavering determination. They encourage you to be tolerant and accepting of everyone, regardless of their beliefs or behaviors. But blind acceptance is a dangerous thing. It allows harmful ideas and destructive behaviors to fester and spread. True wisdom lies in discernment, in the ability to distinguish between what is right and wrong, what is beneficial and harmful. Don't be afraid to challenge conventional wisdom, to question authority, to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular. The world needs critical thinkers, people who are willing to challenge the status quo, to fight for a better future. They tell you that money is the root of all evil, that happiness comes from simple pleasures and meaningful relationships. But money is simply a tool, a means to an end. It can be used for good or for evil, depending on the character of the person wielding it. Financial security provides freedom, opportunity, and the ability to make a positive impact on the world. Don't be ashamed of wanting to be wealthy. Embrace ambition, strive for financial independence, and use your resources to create a better life for yourself and for others. They want you to believe that vulnerability is a strength, that sharing your deepest fears and insecurities will somehow make you stronger. But excessive vulnerability is a weakness. It exposes you to manipulation and exploitation. True strength lies in self-control, in the ability to manage your emotions, to protect your vulnerabilities. Don't reveal your weaknesses to the world. Guard your privacy, cultivate inner resilience, and only confide in those who have earned your trust. The world is a competitive place, and those who are too open and trusting are often taken advantage of. They encourage you to be selfless, to put the needs of others before your own. But self-sacrifice without boundaries is a recipe for resentment and burnout. You can't pour from an empty cup. You need to take care of yourself first, to prioritize your own well-being, to ensure that you have the energy and resources to help others effectively. Don't feel guilty about prioritizing your own needs. Self-care is not selfish. It's essential for long-term success and happiness. They promote the idea of safe spaces, where people can shield themselves from uncomfortable ideas and challenging perspectives. But intellectual comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want to expand your mind, you need to expose yourself to diverse viewpoints, to engage in rigorous debate, to challenge your own assumptions. Don't seek refuge in echo chambers. Embrace discomfort, seek out dissenting opinions, and be willing to change your mind in the face of new evidence. The pursuit of truth requires intellectual courage and a willingness to confront uncomfortable realities. They tell you to be patient, to wait your turn, to trust that things will eventually work out. But the world doesn't reward passivity. Success requires initiative, proactivity, and a relentless pursuit of your goals. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Create them yourself. Take risks, seize the initiative, and never stop pushing forward. The future belongs to those who are willing to take action, to challenge the status quo, and to create their own destiny. They want you to believe that you are a victim of circumstance, that you are powerless to change your situation. But the truth is, you have more control over your life than you realize. You have the power to choose your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. You have the power to learn, to grow, and to become the person you were meant to be. Don't let external forces dictate your destiny. Take responsibility for your own life, embrace your agency, and create the future you desire. They emphasize the importance of conformity, of fitting in, of adhering to social norms. But true innovation and progress come from those who dare to be different, who challenge the status quo, who break free from the constraints of conventional thinking. Don't be afraid to stand out, to express your individuality, to pursue your own unique path. The world needs rebels, visionaries, and nonconformists who are willing to challenge the old ways and create a better future. They preach about the importance of equality, of treating everyone the same regardless of their background or circumstances. But equality of opportunity is not the same as equality of outcome. People have different talents, different motivations, and different work ethics. The world is not a level playing field, and pretending otherwise is a disservice to those who are willing to work hard and strive for excellence. Embrace meritocracy, reward achievement, and encourage everyone to reach their full potential, regardless of their starting point. They tell you that happiness is the ultimate goal, that you should strive to feel good all the time. But happiness is fleeting and unreliable. It's not a sustainable foundation for a fulfilling life. True fulfillment comes from purpose, from meaning, from contributing to something larger than yourself. Don't chase happiness, chase purpose. Find something that you're passionate about, something that challenges you, something that makes a positive impact on the world. Happiness will come as a byproduct of living a meaningful and purposeful life. They want you to believe in the power of positive thinking, that simply visualizing success will somehow make it a reality. But positive thinking without action is just wishful thinking. It's not enough to simply imagine success. You have to work for it. You have to develop a plan, take consistent action, and overcome obstacles along the way. Positive thinking can be a helpful tool, but it's no substitute for hard work, discipline, and perseverance. They encourage you to be open-minded and accepting of all perspectives, even those that contradict your own. But some ideas are simply wrong, harmful, or destructive. Blind tolerance is not a virtue, it's a weakness. You have a responsibility to defend truth, to challenge falsehood, and to protect yourself and others from harmful ideologies. Don't be afraid to judge, to criticize, and to reject ideas that are harmful or destructive. The pursuit of truth requires critical thinking, intellectual rigor, and a willingness to stand up for what is right. They tell you that you should never give up on your dreams, that you should keep pursuing them no matter how difficult they may seem. But sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is to let go of a dream that is no longer serving you. Holding on to a dead dream can be a waste of time, energy, and resources. It can prevent you from pursuing new opportunities and finding a path that is more aligned with your true potential. Don't be afraid to reevaluate your goals, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to let go of dreams that are no longer realistic or fulfilling. The world doesn't reward stubbornness. It rewards adaptability, resilience, and a willingness to learn and grow. The reality of competition is rarely acknowledged. Imagine two men vying for the same promotion. Both are qualified, both have put in the hours, but only one can ascend. Society whispers of teamwork and collaboration, implying that merit alone dictates the outcome. But the truth is starker. The man who understands the unspoken rules of the game, who navigates office politics with a ruthless efficiency masked by polite smiles, who subtly undermines his rival while appearing supportive, he is the one who will likely claim the prize. This isn't about inherent talent. It's about understanding the Darwinian nature of the corporate jungle. The winner isn't necessarily the most skilled, but the most cunning, the most adaptable, the most willing to play the game with a calculated detachment that borders on sociopathy. This truth is buried beneath layers of HR policies and motivational speeches, a silent understanding that fuels the ambitions of those who truly seek power. To speak openly about this reality is to risk ostracization, to be labeled Machiavellian, but to ignore it is to remain perpetually outmaneuvered. The man who refuses to acknowledge the cutthroat nature of ambition is destined to be a pawn in someone else's game, a casualty of a war he didn't even know he was fighting. The comfortable lie is that hard work always prevails, but the uncomfortable truth is that hard work must be coupled with strategic ruthlessness to truly conquer. Consider the entrepreneur launching a new business. The accepted narrative celebrates innovation and customer service, painting a picture of ethical competition. But the reality is often far more brutal. The entrepreneur may face competitors who engage in price wars designed to bankrupt smaller players, who spread misinformation to damage their reputation, or who poach key employees with promises they can't keep. The system pretends that there is a fair playing field, but it ignores the fact that some players have vastly more resources, more connections, and less scruples than others. To succeed, the entrepreneur must be willing to fight fire with fire, to play the game by the same ruthless rules, or risk being crushed beneath the weight of larger, more aggressive competitors. This doesn't mean abandoning all ethics, but it does mean understanding that survival often requires making difficult choices that may be morally ambiguous but strategically necessary. The comforting fiction is that good ideas always win, but the harsh truth is that good ideas must be defended with a fierce, unwavering determination and a willingness to engage in the messy, sometimes unpleasant, realities of the marketplace. Think about relationships, romantic and otherwise. The idealized version involves unconditional love, unwavering support, and selfless devotion. But human nature is more complex. People are drawn to power, status, and perceived value. A man who is successful, confident, and assertive will naturally attract more attention than a man who is weak, insecure, and passive. This isn't about superficiality. It's about the inherent human desire to associate with those who possess desirable qualities. The uncomfortable truth is that relationships are often transactional, even if only subconsciously. People seek partners who can provide them with emotional support, financial security, social status, or simply a sense of validation. To ignore this reality is to be perpetually disappointed, to expect more from people than they are capable of giving. The wise man understands that relationships require constant effort, that he must continuously strive to be the best version of himself, not for the sake of external validation, but for the sake of maintaining the value he brings to the relationship. The convenient lie is that love conquers all, but the inconvenient truth is that love requires a foundation of mutual respect, shared values, and a clear understanding of the inherent power dynamics at play. The world promotes the idea that everyone deserves a trophy, that failure is simply a stepping stone to success, and that self-esteem should be unconditionally fostered. But this is a dangerous delusion. True self-esteem is earned through accomplishment, through overcoming challenges, and through developing competence. Giving everyone a trophy diminishes the value of genuine achievement and creates a generation of individuals who are ill-equipped to handle the inevitable setbacks of life. Failure is not a stepping stone. It is a harsh lesson that must be learned and internalized. It is a necessary component of growth, but it should not be celebrated or normalized. The man who is constantly told that he is special, regardless of his actual accomplishments, is likely to develop a sense of entitlement and a lack of motivation. He will be unprepared for the realities of the world, where success is earned through hard work, dedication, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. The comfortable lie is that everyone is equal, but the uncomfortable truth is that some people are simply more talented, more driven, and more willing to put in the work required to achieve success. Recognizing this disparity is not about promoting elitism. It's about acknowledging reality and encouraging individuals to strive for excellence. The trap is believing that effort alone guarantees success. They tell you to follow your passion, but they conveniently omit the fact that passion alone is rarely enough. Many are passionate about things they are simply not good at. This leads to wasted time, frustration, and a false sense of victimhood when success doesn't materialize. The truth is, passion should be tempered with realistic self-assessment and a willingness to develop marketable skills. You must identify your strengths and weaknesses and focus your energy on areas where you have the potential to excel. This requires a level of honesty and self-awareness that most people are unwilling to cultivate. It's easier to blame external factors, to claim that the system is rigged, or to believe that you are simply unlucky. But these are just excuses that prevent you from taking responsibility for your own life. The path to success is paved with hard work, but it is also guided by strategic thinking, calculated risks, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. The lie is that hard work is always rewarded. The truth is, hard work is only rewarded when it is directed towards a valuable goal. You can work tirelessly on a project that has no market, no demand, and no potential for growth. In that case, your hard work will be for nothing. The successful man understands that effort must be coupled with intelligence, foresight, and a deep understanding of the market. He researches his options, identifies opportunities, and focuses his energy on projects that have a high probability of success. He is not afraid to abandon projects that are not working, even if he has invested a significant amount of time and effort. He understands that sunk costs are irrelevant, and that it is better to cut your losses than to continue throwing good money after bad. This requires a level of detachment and emotional intelligence that is often lacking in those who are driven by passion alone. They promote the idea that failure is something to be avoided at all costs. They tell you to protect your self-esteem, to avoid situations where you might be criticized or rejected. But this is a recipe for stagnation and mediocrity. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary component of it. Every successful man has failed countless times. The difference is that he has learned from his mistakes and used them as stepping stones to future success. He understands that failure is not a reflection of his worth as a person. It is simply feedback that tells him what he needs to improve. He embraces challenges, seeks out opportunities for growth, and is not afraid to take risks. He understands that the greatest risk is not failure, but complacency. The man who is afraid to fail is the man who will never achieve his full potential. The system encourages conformity and discourages independent thinking. They tell you to follow the rules, to obey authority, and to avoid challenging the status quo. But the successful man understands that true innovation comes from questioning assumptions, challenging conventions, and thinking outside the box. He is not afraid to be different, to stand out from the crowd, or to express his own unique perspective. He is a critical thinker who analyzes information, identifies biases, and forms his own opinions. He does not blindly accept what he is told, but instead seeks out truth and understanding. He is a leader, not a follower. He is the one who challenges the status quo, disrupts the industry, and creates something new and valuable. They preach equality but practice favoritism. They tell you that everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed, but the reality is that some people have access to resources, connections, and opportunities that are simply not available to others. The successful man understands that the world is not fair. He does not waste his time complaining about injustice or feeling sorry for himself. Instead, he focuses on what he can control. He builds his own network, cultivates relationships with influential people, and creates his own opportunities. He understands that success is not about waiting for someone to give you a chance. It's about creating your own chance. He is resourceful, resilient, and determined to overcome any obstacles that stand in his way. He doesn't play the victim, he plays the game. They tell you to be nice, to be agreeable, and to avoid conflict. But the successful man understands that sometimes you have to be ruthless. He is not afraid to stand up for what he believes in, to negotiate aggressively, or to make difficult decisions. He understands that not everyone is going to like him, and that's okay. He is not driven by the need for approval, but by the desire to achieve his goals. He is honest, direct, and unapologetic. He does not waste his time trying to please everyone, but instead focuses on building strong relationships with people who are aligned with his values and goals. He understands that true respect is earned, not given. He is a man of action, not just words. The lie is that you should always be yourself. The truth is, yourself is often a collection of limiting beliefs, negative habits, and self-sabotaging behaviors. The successful man understands that personal growth requires constant self-improvement. He is always learning, always evolving, and always striving to become a better version of himself. He identifies his weaknesses, confronts his fears, and develops new skills. He surrounds himself with people who inspire him, challenge him, and hold him accountable. He is not afraid to change his mind, to admit when he is wrong, or to seek help when he needs it. He understands that personal growth is a lifelong journey, not a destination. He is committed to becoming the best version of himself, not just for his own benefit, but for the benefit of those around him. He understands that true success is not just about what you achieve, but about who you become in the process. The world rewards competence, not just authenticity. Develop yourself into someone worth rewarding. They tell you money isn't important. They say focus on happiness, not material wealth. But the uncomfortable truth is that money provides freedom, options, and security. It allows you to pursue your passions, support your loved ones, and make a positive impact on the world. The successful man understands that money is a tool, not an end in itself. He does not define his worth by his net worth, but he recognizes that financial stability is essential for living a fulfilling life. He is responsible with his finances, invests wisely, and uses his wealth to create opportunities for himself and others. He is not ashamed of his success, but instead uses it as a platform to inspire and empower others. He understands that true wealth is not just about money, but about having a rich and meaningful life. The man who scorns money often does so because he cannot acquire it. Don't let his jealousy become your excuse. They preach humility, urging you to downplay your achievements and suppress your ambition. They tell you to be content with mediocrity, to avoid standing out from the crowd. But the harsh reality is that the world rewards those who dare to be great, those who relentlessly pursue their goals, and those who refuse to settle for anything less than excellence. The successful man understands that humility is not about diminishing your accomplishments, but about acknowledging the contributions of others and remaining grounded in your values. He is confident in his abilities, but he is also aware of his limitations. He celebrates his successes, but he does not let them inflate his ego. He is constantly striving to improve, to learn, and to grow. He understands that true humility comes from within, from a deep sense of self-worth that does not depend on external validation. The truly humble man has no need to broadcast his humility. It shows in his actions. They romanticize vulnerability, encouraging you to expose your weaknesses and share your deepest insecurities. They tell you that being open and honest is the key to building strong relationships. But the uncomfortable truth is that vulnerability can be a liability, especially in a world that is often ruthless and unforgiving. The successful man understands that vulnerability is a tool to be used strategically, not a weakness to be exploited. He chooses carefully when and with whom to be vulnerable, recognizing that not everyone has his best interests at heart. He is not afraid to show his emotions, but he does not let them control him. He is aware of his vulnerabilities, but he does not dwell on them. He focuses on his strengths, and he uses them to overcome his weaknesses. He understands that true strength comes from mastering your emotions, not surrendering to them. He reserves his vulnerability for those who have earned his trust and who will protect his heart, not break it. They condemn competition, portraying it as a destructive force that breeds animosity and undermines cooperation. They tell you to focus on collaboration, to work together for the common good. But the harsh reality is that competition is a fundamental aspect of human nature, and it is often the driving force behind innovation, progress, and achievement. The successful man understands that competition is not about crushing your opponents, but about pushing yourself to be better, to learn from your mistakes, and to strive for excellence. He embraces competition as an opportunity to grow, to test his limits, and to hone his skills. He competes with integrity, respecting his rivals and playing by the rules. He understands that true success is not just about winning, but about competing with honor and grace. He doesn't shy away from a challenge, because he knows that every obstacle overcome makes him stronger. Competition reveals character, and the successful man welcomes the opportunity to prove his mettle. They demonize ambition, labeling it as a selfish and materialistic pursuit. They tell you to be content with what you have, to avoid chasing after worldly desires. But the uncomfortable truth is that ambition is a powerful motivator that can drive you to achieve great things, to make a positive impact on the world, and to leave a lasting legacy. The successful man understands that ambition is not about greed or selfishness, but about having a clear vision for your life, setting ambitious goals and working tirelessly to achieve them. He is driven by a desire to make a difference, to create value, and to contribute to something larger than himself. He is not afraid to dream big, to take risks, and to challenge the status quo. He understands that true fulfillment comes from pursuing your passions, reaching your full potential, and making the world a better place. His ambition is a fire that burns within him, fueling his actions and inspiring those around him. He knows that without ambition, stagnation is inevitable. They discourage risk-taking, urging you to play it safe and avoid any potential failures. They tell you to stick to the tried and true, to follow the well-worn path. But the harsh reality is that progress requires risk, innovation demands experimentation, and success often lies just beyond the boundaries of your comfort zone. The successful man understands that risk is an inherent part of life, and that avoiding it altogether is impossible. He embraces calculated risks, weighing the potential rewards against the potential consequences. He is not afraid to fail, but he learns from his mistakes and uses them as stepping stones to success. He understands that true growth comes from pushing yourself beyond your limits, venturing into the unknown, and taking chances that others are afraid to take. He sees risk as an opportunity, not a threat, and he is willing to bet on himself when others doubt him. They promote equality of outcome, arguing that everyone deserves the same results regardless of their effort, talent, or contribution. They tell you that fairness means leveling the playing field, redistributing wealth, and ensuring that everyone has an equal share. But the uncomfortable truth is that equality of outcome is not only unrealistic, but it is also unjust and ultimately destructive. The successful man understands that true fairness means equality of opportunity, giving everyone the chance to succeed based on their own merits. He believes in rewarding hard work, talent, and contribution, and he recognizes that some people will inevitably achieve more than others. He does not begrudge the success of others, but instead uses it as inspiration to strive for his own goals. He understands that true equality is not about making everyone the same, but about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. To handicap the strong does not make the weak any stronger. It only weakens society as a whole. They celebrate weakness, framing it as a virtue to be admired and emulated. They tell you to embrace your flaws, to accept your limitations, and to never strive for self-improvement. But the harsh reality is that weakness is a liability, and that striving for strength is essential for survival, success, and happiness. The successful man understands that true strength is not about suppressing your weaknesses, but about acknowledging them, addressing them, and working to overcome them. He is constantly striving to improve himself, to develop his skills, and to become the best version of himself. He is not afraid of hard work, discipline, or sacrifice. He understands that true fulfillment comes from pushing yourself beyond your limits, conquering your fears, and achieving your goals. He embraces strength, both physical and mental, as a means to protect himself, to provide for his loved ones, and to make a positive impact on the world. Weakness invites exploitation. Strength commands respect. They preach conformity, urging you to follow the crowd, to adhere to social norms, and to never question the status quo. They tell you that fitting in is the key to acceptance, happiness, and success. But the uncomfortable truth is that conformity stifles creativity, inhibits innovation, and prevents progress. The successful man understands that true success comes from thinking for yourself, challenging conventional wisdom, and daring to be different. He is not afraid to stand out from the crowd, to express his unique perspective, and to pursue his own path. He questions everything, analyzes everything, and draws his own conclusions. He is a free thinker, an independent spirit, and a visionary leader. He understands that true greatness comes from breaking the mold, defying expectations, and creating your own reality. Conformity is the path to mediocrity. Individuality is the path to greatness. They tell you that knowledge is power, that accumulating information is the key to success. They encourage you to spend your time reading books, attending lectures, and earning degrees. But the harsh reality is that knowledge is useless without action, and that true power comes from applying what you know to solve problems, create value, and make a difference. The successful man understands that knowledge is a tool, not an end in itself. He is not content with simply acquiring information, but he actively seeks to apply it in practical ways. He is a problem solver, an innovator, and a creator. He uses his knowledge to make informed decisions, to develop effective strategies, and to achieve his goals. He understands that true wisdom comes from combining knowledge with experience, and that the only way to learn is by doing. Knowledge without action is like a car without an engine. It may look impressive, but it will never take you anywhere. They promise you safety, security, and comfort, urging you to avoid risk, embrace routine, and settle for a predictable life. They tell you that happiness comes from minimizing stress, maximizing pleasure, and avoiding any potential pain. But the uncomfortable truth is that safety is an illusion, security is fleeting, and comfort is a trap. The successful man understands that true happiness comes from facing challenges, overcoming obstacles, and pushing yourself beyond your limits. He embraces risk, welcomes change, and seeks out new experiences. He is not afraid of discomfort, pain, or even failure. He understands that these are all essential parts of the learning process, and that they ultimately lead to growth, resilience, and fulfillment. He sees life as an adventure, not a chore, and he is determined to live it to the fullest, even if it means sacrificing safety, security, and comfort along the way. Stagnation is slow death. They idealize peace, harmony, and cooperation, urging you to avoid conflict, compromise your values, and seek consensus at all costs. They tell you that anger is always destructive, that disagreement is always unproductive, and that confrontation is always to be avoided. But the harsh reality is that conflict is inevitable, that disagreement is essential for progress, and that confrontation is sometimes necessary to defend your principles, protect your interests, and achieve your goals. The successful man understands that peace is not always possible, that harmony is not always desirable, and that cooperation is not always beneficial. He is not afraid to stand up for what he believes in, to challenge injustice, and to fight for what is right, even if it means risking conflict, disagreement, and confrontation. He understands that true peace comes from strength, that true harmony comes from respect, and that true cooperation comes from mutual benefit. Weakness does not earn peace, it invites aggression. The world celebrates weakness disguised as virtue. They preach equality, inclusion, and tolerance, urging you to accept everyone, regardless of their character, their competence, or their contribution. They tell you that judging others is always wrong, that discrimination is always evil, and that everyone deserves a chance, regardless of their past, their present, or their potential. But the uncomfortable truth is that not everyone is equal, that not everyone deserves inclusion, and that not everyone is worthy of tolerance. Some people are lazy, some people are incompetent, and some people are downright evil. The successful man understands that judging others is not only necessary, but essential for survival, that discrimination is not always wrong, but sometimes vital for self-preservation, and that not everyone deserves a chance, especially if they have proven themselves to be untrustworthy, unreliable, or dangerous. He surrounds himself with those who are strong, competent, and virtuous, and he avoids those who are weak, incompetent, and malicious. Your inner circle dictates your trajectory. They romanticize love, marriage, and family, urging you to seek a soulmate, settle down, and have children. They tell you that love is the answer to everything, that marriage is the ultimate fulfillment, and that family is the source of happiness. But the brutal reality is that love is often fleeting, that marriage is often a trap, and that family is often a burden. The successful man understands that love is not enough, that marriage is not always desirable, and that family is not always beneficial. He approaches relationships with caution, he chooses his partner wisely, and he prioritizes his own goals, ambitions, and values above all else. He understands that true love is earned, that true marriage is a partnership, and that true family is a choice. He does not blindly follow social norms or expectations, but rather makes his own decisions based on his own needs, desires, and circumstances. Your bloodline does not define you. Your actions do. They glorify ignorance, innocence, and naivety, urging you to remain childlike, carefree, and oblivious to the harsh realities of the world. They tell you that knowledge is dangerous, that experience is corrupting, and that cynicism is toxic. But the forbidden truth is that ignorance is weakness, that innocence is vulnerability, and that naivety is a death sentence. The successful man understands that knowledge is power, that experience is wisdom, and that cynicism is a shield. He seeks out truth, no matter how uncomfortable or painful. He learns from his mistakes, and he expects the worst from others, while always striving for the best himself. He is not afraid to see the world as it is, not as they wish it to be. He is prepared for anything, and he is always one